There we go. Okay. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Like I said, we are very grateful to have Lisa, Christine, Jamie, and Charla here today. As I mentioned, all four of them were born with an omphalocele, and they have each agreed to share a little about their own medical history and their adult lives living with an omphalocele. Before they start, I want to remind everyone that no one here is a doctor, and none of our panelists are providing any direct medical advice today. They're here to share their own personal experience with all of us. So please direct any medical questions to your own providers. All right, we are going to get started. Any volunteer who would like to share first? Go for it, Lisa. You're the only one unmuted.
Okay, yeah, well, we're all nervous, I guess. I was born in 1958. I was 2 weeks late, and I was 10 pounds, 9 ounces. So that really helped a lot in, navigating an omphalocele. I had a giant omphalocele, and my parents did not expect it at all. And I was pretty much just whisked away as soon as I was born. And there was a really excellent pediatric surgeon at the hospital in Long Beach. This is Long Beach, California. And he said he would, try to fix it. Mostly they had to cover it up quickly because infection was a really big problem back then. And so he just stretched the skin, and he said, if her skin is, elastic enough, we'll be okay. So he did that. And then I went home at 3 weeks. And I know that, with cloth diapers and the bandage and everything, and my parents would hold, one of them would hold both ends of me and just wrap the bandage every time they had to change the diaper. So it was a big job for them. And then I had what they tried to do, muscle closure at 3 months. And let's see, the lateral ones broke apart again, or however you would say that, tore apart. So they didn't want to do anything more. Then at 6 months, I had an inguinal, I think that's how you say it, inguinal hernia down in the groin that just kind of popped out because everything else was pressing in. And so I had a surgery on that. And then there were no more surgeries. I was told when I would turn 12 that they might try to flatten it. And I kind of looked forward to that. But by then, my surgeon had brain cancer, and he turned it over to a really conservative surgeon who said, everything's okay. You do have a hump there, but we'd rather just leave it. And so they left it. Everything was okay when I was young. I was proud of it. My parents made sure I was proud of it. And I showed anybody who wanted to see that I didn't have a belly button. And then when I was a teenager, I got more shy about it and kind of wished I could conform a little better, but it all worked out. So the one thing that's very interesting to me is I didn't find this out till I was an adult. My father had a sister who was born before him with the same problem, and she died at 3 months. And nobody told me that till I was an adult. I just knew that he had a sister who had died. And we don't think that it's hereditary, that's what they say, but it kind of seems like something might be different. But none of my 3 children have it. No problems like that. And I was able to be pregnant 3 times with no problems really, except for stingy scars that when they stretch, they stung. I think that's about all you need to know.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Lisa. Who would like to share next?
I think I figured out how to unmute.
Yay, you did. We can hear you.
I had to go into settings. Anyway, I can go next. So you just want to know the story. I was born in France and came with an omphalocele, giant omphalocele. Everything was out. It was in 1969. They, they didn't know a lot, but now I'm finding that there's people who have had it way before me. So everyone I talk to, they think they're the first ones. It's kind of funny, but we always find someone before us. I came to the States when I was 2. Oh, wait. Okay. So I had it in 1969, and then 3 months later, they went back and I don't know what they did, but they finished whatever they started. They wanted to make sure I would survive. And so and I did, obviously. And I've really had no problems since, except pregnancy. I mean, I haven't had any medical issues that I can think of. Except when I was pregnant, I couldn't hold till term because of all the scar tissue and everything. So, and yeah, I don't know. So, I had my son when, 2.5 months early. Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm all this technical issue stuff going on with the Zoom and everything. I'm nervous now. Got me off track. Let's see what else. I have about a 5-inch scar. I finally measured it today. I was so curious. And that's really about all I've had. I've run marathons. I've had a wonderful baby who doesn't have it. I've just had I don't feel like an expert or anything. It's been a pretty normal, whatever normal is, normal to just no issues. So I don't really have a lot to say except that it wasn't anything spectacular for me. My parents didn't even really recognize it. They didn't understand it. I don't know what's better, to have your Google searches and be able to know everything up front, or my parents who were just surprised when I was born and really didn't know what to make of it. They'd never heard of it. They never had any research on it. So otherwise, that's all I have.
Thank you, Christine.
Yeah.
Charlotte, do you want to go? Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was born in 1977 with a giant O that my parents were not aware of either. And it ruptured at birth. And like Lisa, I was whisked away and sent to a children's hospital. My parents were told they weren't sure what the outcome would be. I spent 6 weeks in the hospital, and for the first 12 days, I think it was the first 12 days, every other day, they did another part of the surgery. I had a silo, and so they just kind of slowly had everything go back in. And I was discharged home. The biggest complication that my parents said was getting me to eat. I was a slow eater. So they constantly had a bottle in my mouth, to make sure that I was eating and growing. And then at 2, I had another follow-up surgery. I don't know if that was muscle closure or not. And then at 3, I had one last one. And then my next surgery after that was probably what Lisa was supposed to have. I was 15, and they did more, I would call it a cosmetic surgery. They straightened out the scar and gave me a belly button. And I was super excited at that point because I was a teenager and I wanted to fit in with everyone else. And now as an adult, I kind of wish I hadn't, because I don't like how the belly button turned out. And but I can't go back and change that. Other than that, I haven't really had any major medical issues connected to the O. My core is definitely weaker. I cannot run marathons because I struggle to breathe. And I don't know if that's connected to the omphalocele or not. But other than that, I'm a pretty active adult. I like to walk, I like to hike. I used to rock climb for a while. I can eat just about anything, but in smaller quantities. I definitely fill up pretty quickly. But yeah, no major issues.
Wonderful. Thank you, Charlotte.
Yep.
All right, Jamie, your turn.
Excuse me, sorry. I was born in 1985 with a giant omphalocele, my entire liver and part of my stomach. My mom was an RN, so she was semi-familiar with most of the surgeons in Seattle. And Edwin Hatch Jr., the creator of the paint and wait, had me and 4 other babies that he started the paint and wait on. Of course, my mom was really proud. My daughter was in the Journal of Medicine. So I had closure surgery at about 6 months of age. And he did create a belly button, which has changed since having 2 kids of my own. Since then, I have a chimney-like chest wall rib cage. I have pulmonary hypoplasia and restrictive lung disease and asthma. I have about 68% total lung capacity. And I have gastroparesis, which I have kind of under control just by diet. I also have short gut syndrome. My organs are not in the right spot, of course, which is typical, and misshaped. Other than that, my kidneys are higher up, which does create some problems. I probably go to the bathroom more than anybody else that I know. I get UTIs easier. But yeah, I'm trying to think. I haven't had a whole lot of surgeries other than the closure. My understanding is I did not have my muscles closed or anything. They've never found my appendix ever. And I'm trying to think. I had a lower abdominal surgery when I was about 2 weeks of age. I don't know what kind of hernia it was, but I do know it was a double-sided hernia. I was going to read my medical records. I apologize for this. But I had a VSD that closed on its own when I was a baby. But I do get infections easier. I have an unknown autoimmune disease. I've never been genetically tested, I learned. But so I had a geneticist that questions about BWS, but I'm like, I don't think I do. I have a couple learning disabilities, central auditory processing, and ADD. But other than that, yeah, I'm open to any questions. Obviously, I do take.
Go ahead. Do you all have?
Sorry.
You guys all 3 got belly buttons?
Kinda. Yeah.
Wow. I like the idea of being different. I was always so proud of it. Anyways, go ahead.
I kind of make jokes actually whenever I get ultrasounds or anything. I scared a nurse before when she went to do an ultrasound when I was pregnant, and she's like, "You have no belly button." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I was born with an omphalocele." But yeah, I've been able to deliver naturally 2 healthy babies. One is by donor egg. I have a low amount of eggs due to radiation exposure from so many medical tests that I've had throughout my life. But my lungs are not best as I'm getting older. As you can kind of hear, I'm kind of hoarse. But other than that, yeah, I do have a bit of a heart murmur still, but they call it an innocent one. But mind you, I haven't seen my specialist in a long time. So, so anyways, but yeah, so I hope I'm able to answer any questions. I'll stop talking.